Hi guys, can anybody hear me? Hope so. Or it's all for note. Good evening, everybody. Say hi if you're watching. No one's on the chat yet. Good evening to you. Hi Wendy. Hi Jim. Good on you guys. Well done. William, good evening to you. Michael, good evening to you, sir. I hope it does, mate. We hope so. I'm going to look forward to tonight. It's a nice watercolour. Lovely landscape. Lots of sky. See how we get on with this one. Got an excellent connection, although we seem to have lost one person so far. That's not so clever. Lovely. I hope everybody's set for a wonderful weekend. Lots of fun. Lots of doing some lovely things, I'm sure. Derek, good evening to you. How you doing, mate? Hope you're doing fine. How's America, Jim? Those lads are yours towing the line? That's right, Derek, I found that one, mate. I worked it out. You didn't have to knock it out. That's cool. Cheers, mate. No problems. Michael, I can't honestly tell you that. I don't know enough about that area, to be quite honest with you. Dennis, good evening to you. Excuse me. I honestly don't know, Michael. I know I've done sort of several trips to Pin Mill in the past, and I was on my own, and I was staying at a B&B somewhere there, I think at the time. No, I was in my camper van. That's where I was. I had a camper van which is like a portable studio for a long time, and I went up to Shotley Point because that's where Seago had done many images in the past, both watercolour and in oil, and I just wanted to see or stand sort of in the sort of places that he did. So I don't really know much about it other than that, my friend. So if you think it's there, then you probably know a lot more about the area than I do. We give it a few more minutes because it's only just on the hour. We're slowly creeping up in numbers. Let's see if we can get over 30 again tonight. Would be great. Keith, good evening to you, sir. Oh dear. I've no idea how long this one's going to be in terms of time. So I don't think it's going to reach 2 hours. I've said that before and it's gone way over, so we don't know. Never know for sure. How's Keith? You good, mate? All set for the weekend? Ben, good evening to you, sir. Nice of you to join us. I don't think we're going to hear from John from Piccadilly tonight. I think his work activities have taken him out the loop, unfortunately. So hopefully he does show up. Be great if he does. Where else are we? Now, if I start to fall asleep tonight, people, please forgive me. You're going to have to excuse that. I am extremely, extremely tired today. I did, if any of you have seen my weekly video that went up today on my channel, you'll notice that it's one that's a little bit different for me than normal. It's a pastel, not pastel, it's a coloured pencil in Faber-Castell Polychromos, drawing of a robin. Now that on its own is not anything great, it's just another video. It's on a completely different medium, one that I've been looking to tackle for a little while. I've been thinking about it, and I actually haven't. I had this old set of 36 Polychromos which I got out of the cupboard and sorted out, and if you hear a doorbell go during the course of this, it will be the delivery of a brand new box set of Polychromos that I ordered yesterday, and also some Caran d'Ache box set. I've ordered 2 different types, and I really want to have a field day with both of them over the coming weeks. But that's not why I'm so tired. Why I'm so tired is that particular video took an awful long time to edit through, and I actually had so many disturbances at work. Normally on a Thursday and some on a Wednesday, I do the edit for Friday whilst I'm at work, and unfortunately I got so many interruptions yesterday that I got barely any editing done during the course of the day. I barely had half of it edited by the time I come home for my dinner, and only that, I had the other half to edit, and I also had the whole voiceover to do and then get it uploaded, which would have been fine, but there were some things that went wrong, and I had to change some things once I'd done the first upload, and all these different bits and pieces. Unfortunately, I was so wired, having looking at the screen for hours, and I didn't go to bed until nearly 1 o'clock in the morning. And of course I was so wired from watching computer screens that I just couldn't sleep. So I'm working on overdrive from the point I got up this morning. So please be prepared to forgive me if A, this goes wrong, and B, I suddenly go to sleep. You'll have to put up with that. And if you hear snoring, shout at me. Okay, not a problem. Anyway, okay, Sean, good evening to you from Cornwall, sir. Nice of you to join us. I'm not doing Cornwall tonight. As much as I'd love to be down there painting it right now, I've got to say, but I'm not doing it tonight. Right, Shotley Point. This is in Essex, and it is on the River Orwell, which goes all the way up to Ipswich. And, I did warn you, all the way up to Ipswich, and it goes right past Pin Mill, which is obviously a very well known motif with the Button Oyster pub right on the water there. The tide comes up lapping round its walls, so that is an awesome place if you're in that area ever. Okay, let's get started because I've been rabbiting on for a few minutes now. So we are 20 people watching, and there's not 20 people in the chat, but if you are there watching and want to say hello, please feel free to do so. Now, this paper is slightly different to the norm. I was playing around cutting up different bits of lovely heavyweight paper today, and this is a 300-pound Saunders Waterford paper, and it's a rough paper. And I just wanted it slightly longer. I would have had it longer still. I would have gone sort of way off screen, somewhere way over here. Unfortunately, you would have not seen that end of it. I couldn't get it to fit in, so we've had to compromise and go a little wider than normal and keep the same depth. Anyway, to that end, you can sketch through. Of course you can sketch through. I don't even know if this is straight anymore, to be quite honest with you. I think it is. But you can also, if you've got a very straight horizon line, which this predominantly is, you can sort of put a mark, and you can check your levels. You can go out there and you can put a little mark on here if you wish to, and just put a little tap there. And you can do the same this end, so that you do know. That's if you can see where you put your last mark. You can put a little tap there, and you can quickly just put a very faint pencil line through, and that gives you a nice straight flat horizon line. So there you go. Slightly late, good, nice to see you, Luke. Thank you very much, mate. Is your nan coming tonight? Is she joining in? Okay, so apart from that, we're going to do a little bit of drawing, but not too much. And all I'm going to do is put on a little bit of the bank on the other side. Now, as I said earlier, that Edward Seago painted here many times, and some of his most dramatic oils are of yachts and stuff off of Shotley Point. It's beautiful, and I think the Shotley Point goes towards the sea and more open water. I'm not too sure. I don't know the terrain awfully well, gotta say. I only had this one evening here. It was a delightful evening, but I never got the chance to explore around the land at all, and the inlets and the waterways of this area. I just had the one chance to get something of it. But it was a glorious, I've got other photos of glorious sunsets. Sunset, say one sunset, I was only here the one time. And I'm going to bring this down here, this bank. I'm going to lose a lot of what's underneath. There's still a little bit too much green. I don't want too much in my picture, so I'm going to put a little bit ahead there, give the water a bit more room and make it look a little wider but a little denser. So that pretty much is all the drawing I need to do. I can suggest this wave. I did say I had a very tired night. Lucy, good evening to you. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, this lovely cloud, I'm not going to really draw it. I'm going to keep everything in mind as I put a wash on. And the whole of this painting will work, start, finish, win or lose, just on this wash. Everything else, all this down here, it's all secondary. It's the support act. This is the painting. And if I don't do this right, then the whole lot is in the bin and has to be started again. So it's a one-shot deal. Where are we? Sabella, good evening to you. Thank you for joining us. And I've got to get this right. It's Ben. Good evening to you all the way from Iceland. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Now, I was going to augment this. I quite like the design. I like the picture. But in the very far distance, there are some little taps of yachts. But I want to put one or two here. So what I'm going to do to begin with is I'm just going to suggest a couple of sort of yachts under sail coming out through here, a little bit of white just coming out through the estuary here, little mast and rear sail, maybe a little bit of front sail, like so. I'm going to try and preserve a couple of those with the white paint. I'm going to put what we got, a little bit of rear sail on there, something like that on the boat. And they're under good, they're under good wind. They are going nicely down the river. And it's never good to have two. If you're going to have any, you have 1, 3, or 5. Odd numbers, really good idea. And I put a smaller one in here. Nice shape to that one, like so. So these three are all sort of in convoys that were going down the estuary towards Ipswich, towards their berth for the evening, something like that. Maybe give that a nice heavy mast on there, a little bit higher on that one, and something like that. And we can put those in, and that will make a much nicer picture other than the bland one that I already had. Now, do I put more in? I think I will. I'm going to put a couple small ones up in here, like so, and they're going well away from us. And then 1 or 2 taps right up in there. You can't see too much. And to that end, I have introduced back. Now, you saw me a couple of weeks ago using one of these. Now, this is a Pebeo drawing gum that is dispensed through this plastic filament. Now, I found that these were poor quality at best, I think I have to say. I'm sorry, Pebeo, but you get this straight out of the tube and give it a shake and use it, it will work quite well. But you have it in your arsenal for a little while and everything just bungs up and dries up, which is the nature of drawing gum, which is what this is. So that I'm putting away, because the other thing about that hard nib is that it actually it sort of causes problems in the paper, especially good quality heavy paper. Get rid of that. So I'm going to attempt this stuff will go everywhere given the chance. It's a fine enough nib, but if you squeeze too much, boy do you have a problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get prepared in case there is a problem, and I will regret it. But I'm going to just simply tap, if I can, just 1 or 2 little taps down there, not too much. And really I'm almost just touching the paper with it. I'm not squeezing it, doing my best not to squeeze it. Right, so just going to put 1 or 2 taps there, a little tap in there, and just up there, one there, up there. Here I'm going to put a couple of taps in, but I don't want to put too much. I'm going to try and leave them all together and try and work around those. So now I've really got to wait for that to dry. If I speed up the process with a hairdryer, be warned, it will or can cost you, because you are almost cooking this into the paper. But I'm going to give it a little gentle warm because time is of the essence. Come back from that in a minute. What I was going to say here, if you have a very old brush, 1 or 2 hairs in it, not too strong, you could actually play around with some of these shapes and just disperse them into the shape of the form of the sail that you would like. But I will try and leave that, and yeah, I'm going to try not to do too much with it. I'm going to use this rubber just to gently tease that into a shape that will give me a sail. And so this is a little bit of I don't know, experiment at best. Just going to try and suggest that there's something. I'm not too worried about these, they're just literally little shapes. I'll point up maybe just to suggest it's a boat, and you can come in with paint. Once you get rid of those, you can come in with paint and play around with those shapes, not a problem. Okay, let's just dry them off a little more. I haven't got it very, very hot. It's warm. I think that'll probably be dry enough now to go over with my wash. I'm going to start preparing a wash, and I'm going to be using this to apply the wash, but I'm not going to use this to mix the wash. But I'm going to be using something a little bit smaller that will get nicely into some of these paint trays and not cause me a problem. So I'm going to start off with a lot of colour. This is going to be a lot of cobalt blue in here. I'm going to mix an awful lot of it, because I've got to go over a lot of it. And I'm going to try, as best I can, to try and leave my white spaces. So the wash needs to be at an angle. Of course, you need your paper at a nice angle to do this. And you need to have plenty of paint, so you do not have to try and go and remix. Invariably, you probably will, to be quite honest with you. It's very hard to get everything done as you want to start with. I come in there and I'm going to add then a, what am I going to mix in there? I want to put a bit of blue and indigo, bit of neutral tint together. That will give me a sort of pretty grungy old dark violet to go into the clouds. And I'm going to add a little bit of blue into here. Not much, but I'm going to add a little bit of lemon yellow. That will take my colour off to a cooler colour coming down through here. Okay, so where are we going? Jean, good evening to you. Gene, not a problem. Thanks for joining in. Sue, good evening to you as well. Thanks for joining us. Alrighty. So now I've got a lot of colour and this brush is ready at the get-go for mixing some more. So what am I going to do? Am I going to mix this and wet this paper all together? No, I'm not. What I am going to do is I'm going to put a wash in and let it come down. I'm going to just wet the start and I'm going to come into some of this mix. Actually, what I did miss, I want to put a little bit of phthalo blue into that first mix, just a little bit. Going to come in here with this lovely blue colour. Now I don't want to mess it up and I do not want to have it too dark and I don't want to have it too light. I really am looking to get this done in one hit. So I'm coming down with it. The large and vast majority of the colour is at the top and I can drop colour into the top like so. I can also turn it upside down if I wish to, further in. Now I'm going to suggest some of these lights coming through here. I will lift some of those out. Good Lord, that holds some water, that big old brush. Right, now I am going to start thinking, and if I go a little bit quiet, you must forgive me. I am just playing around with some of these blues coming into this cloud here, taking this colour down. I need a lot more colour than what I put out. It always catches me out, and I'm sure it catches a lot of people out. I've come in with a lot more blue, and I'm just going to literally play around with it for just a little bit more. A little bit of light coming down through here as well. I'm going to lose that coming in here, let that come down like so. I'm going to definitely drag some of this out now while it's still damp but not dry, and I'm going to save a lot of these shapes. That's what I've got to do, save some of these shapes. You need to have 4 pairs of hands, or at least 2 pairs, 4 hands, that would be great. So I'm going to come in here and drop some more colour into there because I don't need to worry too much at the moment. I'm going to come in here and play around with some of the shapes that will be the form of this cloud here, taking that up to there and down there, let that run away and onto there. There is more blue coming down through here, so we can take that to there. Then I want some of this yellow to come in. That's way too much. Let's just take some of that out through there like that. Just scratch it about, let that bleed through. Now you don't want any of this really drying up on you. You've really got to keep working this so hard, and before the whole of this paint starts to cause you a problem. So I am literally playing around and working these shapes. You're not going to get too much from me in terms of talk, although I seem to be debunking that theory by keep on chatting. I'm just trying to, normally when I do a wash like this and there's a lot of work involved in the wash, I won't even answer the phone, I won't talk to people. I just don't want to know. I just want to get this down and I don't want to wreck it. So I'm just playing around with some of the lovely white marks, pale marks in here. Lifting as I go. Here I'm going to end up with a hard edge, so let's smudge that through quickly. Let's lose some. There's a little bit of a hard edge there. We can play around with that. It's not the end of the world. We can get rid of that. Not a problem. We can drop a little bit of blue in there just to reinforce some of the sky as it's coming down. Just play into some of these shapes here. Because we've got, I don't know what they are, razor clouds or vapor trails that I can't think they're all vapor trails. Some of them may have been, but I don't think they really are totally. Now I need to come across, there's one through here which we've missed. Let's get that back in. Damp brush, smaller brush, just to give a bit more control as this is eating in. But you've got to do this all while it's quite damp. And you don't want to do it when it's too dry and put too much water into this, because you'll end up with those awful cauliflowers. I can still end up with some, but I'm going to make them work for me if I do. I'm not overly worried, not too stressed over that. I just want to suggest this lovely, beautiful sky. I'm going to use this one just to lift a bit more water or pigment off of the paper in one or two places, like so. Get very, very wet with a with a big wash like this. You do get soaked. Right, a little bit more into some of these here, and just gently caressing the top of the paper. Very easily lose the surface. Don't want to do that. Like so. Okay, there's a scary mark up there. Let's try and take that out if I can. And one just appearing there. Let's take that through. In fact, what I might just do with that is making these decisions, and you can easily make the wrong one. Let's try and just drop some blues back in, let that come down. All this paper is down, and this is why you use a very heavyweight paper, because it allows you a little bit more breathing time, working time, when you're doing something like this. And I'm literally just, almost like the brush is a dropper, just dropping pigment into this dampness and allowing that to do what it wants to do as it comes down towards this lovely cloud form down here, like that, and maybe a little strength up in here. So literally again, I'm just dropping pure pigment, a little bit of water to move it into some of these spaces like so. And that reinforces the whites as well, the darker blues against those faded areas where I've taken paint off will just allow me to suggest that the clouds are a little stronger in one or two places. I'm going to take that off through there, like so, something like that. And we shall see. I hope that works. Always a challenging moment when you are doing something like this, because you're never quite sure if you're going to bring it off, especially not under scrutiny like live on a channel like this, streaming it to the world, where if you're looking at it 1 minute and it works, and the next minute you've lost it. Well, some of you know me well, and you know darn well that one or two times I've really got quite close to losing the painting on a stream. It can happen. Don't want it to happen, but it can happen. But I think we're not too bad. Quite like that. And I'm going to leave that. The cloud's a different shape here than this one, but I'm not going to worry about that. And the cloud's changing all the time. So I'm going to let it settle down for a minute, and we shall carry on. Oh, we're up to 29 people. Look at that. That's cracking. Have I missed anybody? Ben C, can you stop cauliflower spreading by dabbing with a dry tissue? You can to a point if you see it in time. All you're doing is restricting the water flow. So yeah, it can be done, but you just have to try it. Be very careful before you do it. But if you do all this like I'm doing here, where the painting is damp and the paper is generally damp, then it's not a bad thing. It'll work for you. So I've got pretty much hard edges around here. I can try and soften them by not being too much longer and drinking a drink and talking on the chat line. Hi Ben, I'm exhausted before I started to watch. Oh Judy, I hope you're okay. Paul from Bramley, good evening to you, sir. So I'm just catching up with those on the chat. How when you try phoning, have switched your phone off? Wendy, hi Judy, haven't had a missed call from you. Can you stop cauliflowers? Lucy, wow, I love these clouds. Thank you, Lucy. I think it's National Mobile Phone Not Working Day. Mine somehow. Oh dear, not good. All right, let's crack on, because I'm going to lose this if I'm not careful. So now I'm going to come in there's quite a bit of lovely blue underneath. So what I want to try and do is put a little bit of blue in, but this time no phthalo cyanin, just some cobalt. Tap of that yellow can go in to make it a little greener, and then I'm going to run that through here along this shoreline, as it were, or that distance. Now this is where I've got to be even more careful, because I want to start putting in some of this, and I'm going to come for a smaller brush. I think a little bit more of that, a little bit more of that, and we get a lovely dark color through here. And this is our cloud, and I'm just going to let it drop in place in one or two places. I want to suggest the blueness under here, so I'm going to add a little cobalt into some of that, drag some over here and put some more cobalt into that, like so. It's going to bleed down and become quite pale, and I want that to happen, I've got to say. And just tapping in a little bit more up into some of these places in here, and I'm using the water too to spread it around and mess it up, like so. So we've got some clean water coming into the edges, and don't get too wet with everything, just enough to make it all move around. Tap it up to there. You can make it, some of these edges, a little softer by just stroking around the joins between the two. This is where you will get the cauliflowers if you're not careful, Ben. So just be warned that you don't want to do too much of that. Alright, so just come in, and I'm going to actually make that grey go up into there. I think that looks great, because that could be quite a nice shadow mark there. And I'm going to soften it, make it a little less, like so, and then a lot of water coming in there. Let that soften off. Don't want too many hard edges, trying to avoid too many of them, like so. Got to work very, very fast. Keep everything fluid, keep it all going. Just going to put a little bit through there very, very quickly, and up through here very, very quickly. Just one or two dark taps in there, a little bit more blue in this end of it, like so, and let that come in. Now I've got to be a little bit careful here. If this is not dry enough, it's going to bleed, but if it's dry enough, I will get away with it. There's a little bit of a line form there, so I'm going to darken that up through there and there. Just tap out one or two across there and see how that looks. Maybe a bit more blue, a little bit of, not too much. Let's come back with a bit more blue. That was a little bit too aggressive. And where are we? Okay, come in here with some of this, take that all the way through there, more blue, and just take that off to that edge, like so. I don't want to lose all of this. I'm going to make that get softer up into there. Lift some of this material out, like so, and let that sky, those clouds, form what you need them to at the top there. And as I say, this painting will not make 2 hours tonight, so those of you who normally have to suffer the rigours of my long sessions will get away a little bit earlier tonight. I really feel that, but it could even be shorter if I don't get this cloud right. This is the whole thing. I've got to get this right. I want to put in a little, just a little Naples yellow. I think just calling a little bit of opacity and a little yellowing through there. I'm going to wet that and play around with that. I'm going to put a little bit of raw sienna into there too. Just going to give that a little yellowing. We're getting edges, and that's because I am not concentrating enough, and I am allowing little edges to dry up on me. So I'm going to work furiously here, just try and lose some of that. I'm not going to get rid of all of it, I know that. Tapping some of that off in there, and run another value in there, like so. Right, a little bit of a repair to go on here, a little bit of neutral tint there, just run that into there, like so. Now my cloud is not going to be exactly the same as the one you see, but like I said, I just need a wonderful cloud. It doesn't have to be exact. I just want it to look good and really a big presence over this wonderful river. So now I'm gaining a little bit more control over it. I lost it for a second, but we've recaptured it. I'm going to put some work into this area here. Okay. Just checking that brush. It seemed a little bit on the weak side, but it's not. It's fine. So I'm just sort of running it almost dry brush. Very little pigment going in. So I'm just playing around with this now, I'm going to come over with a bit of dark over these areas here. Just playing around with some of them. Just build one or two places, like so. Come on down through there. Right, do you get the impression, Gene, that technology has a mind of its own? Oh, tell me about it. Technology, I hate it. But we can't live without it. I'm just going to fade that off a little bit, take some of the pressure out of there. Just eat back into it like so. And tap, whilst this is damp in one or two places, re-wet if you need to. Just come in with one or two other darks that are suggestive on shades and shadows and forms going up into this cloud, like so. Has any of you seen my colour pencil video today that's gone up? If so, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. You don't have to tell me tonight, but you can put a comment under the video itself if you would like to. That would be awesome. Tell me what you think generally, not only of the video, but also the way that the editing has been done. If you have any opinions on the way it's been edited, I'd love to hear those too. That'd be fantastic. I'm just playing around with this, and I've got to be a bit careful. I want to soften some of these marks down here now, and they're sort of looking a little bit menacing and a bit thundery down here, and I want to try and get those in, especially I'm going to do it through here, and just suggest that. Just tap a few down a little bit deeper than they were, like so. That's working. Maybe a tap more blue would be good too, just to look that lovely flowing through those damp areas, like so. Hopefully that's not too much, and then we've got away with that. Soften that out through there. Come back down again, which is not quite the cloud, but I'm not unhappy with that. Gently tease that away, dry brushing it. Dry brush, take that away into there. Tap a little bit of dark into this section, a little bit more blue. And not too wet. It's trying to contain the amount of water you're putting into it at this point. You see there, it's going to push that other pigment away. So I'm going to work that area in, just dry it off like Ben was saying through there, and just tease the two areas together and hope to get away with it. Experience shows 9 out of 10 times you will, but sometimes you will just lose the battle. Thanks, Wendy. Thank you. So Billy, you've looked at it as well. Thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. The reason I'm asking is because it's a very new medium for me in some ways. Not the drawing, not the subject matter, but the actual medium, because I only found a very old set recently. And I just wanted to play with them, as I said in the video. And I wanted to do more of it, but I wasn't going to do more of it if they didn't go down too well. So we shall see, and if it gets the viewing, then we will carry on. I quite like this as it is. I'm not really wanting to put too much more in. Maybe a little bit of warmth in the form of almost a sense of orange in there. does not. I'm not going to go that strong. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to come in with some opaque, some Naples yellow, and I just want to put in a little suggestion through here. Now that's still too dry brush. I'm going to come in with a little bit of pigment. I think this brush is sort of weakening. I'm a bit concerned about it holding up. Right, that's enough of that. I'm going to take it off now. I'm just going to lose it. And change the brush as well. I'm actually fed up with that brush. Not quite sure why it's doing what it's doing. But hopefully this much better. There we go. You get a sense of the brush working with you or against you. That one definitely wasn't helping. Take some of that through there and add a little bit of dark in there. So take it away from the yellow, a little bit of the mix that we have been using, like so. Let that come down, form some more shadows and forms within the cloud itself, like so. Okay, I think I'm going to leave that there. I quite like what it's doing. I think it looks okay, and good. I'm glad you liked it too, Sylvia. Thank you very much. They are apparently more than even I gave them credit for, Keith. But they're nice. So I'm going to be doing a lot more of them. But yeah, let's get back to this before I start talking about too much about coloured pencils, because I could yab on about those things. Okay, so now I'm going to come in with some ground colour. I don't think this isn't as elaborate and as detailed as the photograph. Having said that, I don't think it needs to be. It needs to have some wonderful colour, some form, shape, and it looks enormous compared to this. And that's what I was aiming for, was the sort of lovely vista, the lovely weight of the cloud through here against this landmass through here. So I'm going to come in now with some phthalo blue and some tint, neutral tint. When I say tint, tap of that green wouldn't go amiss in there, just to cool it down a little. So that was a little bit of lemon. There you go. Now lemon and neutral tint is a little bit like lemon and blue black in some ways, because you're using that and you're cooling down with the lemon, making a dirtier green. So let's just see where we go with this colour. I want it to come through those boats. I'm not worried about any of that at all. I'm going to come all the way through here. Oh, I didn't want to go through that boat, did I? Nor that one, because I was meant to be leaving those. So let's just tap that off and see if I can come back in. I won't preserve it all, but I will come to there and I'll come to there. Got a little bit of beyond myself. Take that on through now, and I'm going to change that colour definitely to a little bit of raw sienna through there, a little more yellow. Take that through there. Too strong, so let's just take some water to that, lift some off. Let that dry before we go back in with some of the trees and shrubs that are evident through there. So that looks quite nice as it is. I'm going to use some of the same raw sienna over here now. And I am going to put some information through here, on this landmass through here, back up to there. And on this little bit of mud flat that appears to be there. Don't worry that it's going to look a little bit different here, because we're going to go over some of this initial value, like so. There is a track through here which I will put in somewhere like that. We'll make a little bit more of it through there, like so. Just bring that down to the edge of the water and take that round like that. It's not too much, and it's just a token underpainting in a sense of that. And if you leave a bit of white paper, it really doesn't matter either. So I want to come back in on here where the ground rises quite considerably at this point. Put that in there, and we will play around with some of the landforms and the colours of trees and shrubs, whatever might be over there bushwise or anything else. Let's put that in there. And we're going to leave that to settle. I'm going to tap in a little bit of neutral tint to that on this road and bring that through here on the edge of this path, like that. And again, it really does, it goes round the corner. Let's bring that round like so. Take that off the page, not a problem. And just let that dry out, let that settle down. Okay. Well, I'm a bit disappointed. I haven't had my delivery yet. I've been itching all day for that, gotta say. Thank you very much, Sean. It's very kind of you. Jean, I can't wait to see the colour pencils video. I played with them a bit and have a huge set of Prismacolor pencils sitting on the closet just where I tell you, Jean, it's I understand exactly what you're just saying. I mean, Wendy knows me well, and she knows that I just went into a cupboard and I found I got to tell you the story while this is just drying up, if you guys can bear with me for a little bit. But I found these 2 tins of coloured pencils. Both of them are Faber-Castell. One of them is the well-known and very popular professional Polychromo set, which is a set of 36. And now, I don't know how long I've had them, but they were never touched, never been touched, never been opened as far as I know. And they had a price tag from a long extinct supplier of local stationery in the town near me, and they were £16.50. The same set today is just about £50, so it gives you some idea how long ago I bought them. And what's worse, I bought another set of Faber-Castell. I don't think they're quite the same grade. They're called Lotus Colour, which from what I can understand, are no longer available to use or buy. But they were, I think £6 or £7 for this set of 36. So I have no idea. None of them have been used. So there you go. But what I have said is I've enjoyed them so much, and I've researched a lot about them, and I will be showing you a video in the next couple of weeks or sooner, whereby I will unbox and film the unboxing as it's such is of my both sets, the Caran d'Ache, which are the luminescence set, which are a lot softer than the polychromos, and their light fastness is beyond reproach, and the well-respected polychromos, which are they are very high on the light fastness too, slightly harder than luminescence, and give you 2 types of finish in a certain way. So I bought 2 box sets. I didn't have to be box sets. I could have saved a bit of money by buying the tin versions, but hey, I just love boxes. So I bought box sets, and I'm gonna have fun with those. But I was hoping one should have been here when I got home from work from the gallery today, and I got a message halfway through or late in the morning from DPD saying that I'm so sorry, they sent it to Gatwick instead of to me. Hey, I didn't confuse the address. I might like to have owned Gatwick, but I live here, so hopefully it's been rerouted and coming. So anyway, not a lot I can do if that doesn't turn up, but hopefully it does, and at the end of this session we can crack on with it and have a look. Right, I'm digressing a lot because we now need to get on. Okay, so let me just lift some of this palette colour out the way. We don't need too much of that now. And now, where are we? So I've lost some of the feed. There we are. Watercolour pencil, yeah, I think you can. I'm not too clever with those. I've got a big box sitting to the right of me right now, Sabella. It's I honestly don't know. I've used both in the past, although not those ones, and I've got a set of Staedtler watercolour pencils over there. I will do some experiments and sort of report back really. I can't see any reason why. The thing about coloured pencils over watercolour pencils, the pigments are exactly the same. Okay, so it's not the pigment, it's nothing to do with the colour. What it is to do with is the binder that makes the pencils as they are. So with watercolour pencils, you get a lot of binder and gum arabic and all that stuff that holds them together and makes them work. Because obviously when you apply water to it, it has to disperse. But with coloured pencils, it's made up of oil and wax, and so they are waterproof when you lay them down on your paper. So in a sense, if you're going to do anything, you could use watercolour or watercolour pencils as a underpainting, which you can do, because you can do that with pastels as well. You can underpaint in oils, watercolours, lots of things with pastels, and pastel over the top. And you can also do a very similar thing, I'm sure, with pastel, with watercolour pencils, is you can actually put those down first, do a lot of work as a base work, and then go over the top with your, once it's all dry, go over the top with your watercolor, with your standard coloured pencils, because they will then deposit a foam. But you think about it, you can actually use the whites and stuff if you're very clever, or you can emboss, and you can create and leave marks out so that you don't get you can get different fills, and you get areas where you could put a piece of coloured pencil in, and you could actually have watercolour. Obviously it will go either side of it, but it won't obviously stay in the area that you got the wax type pencil. So yeah, I think you can actually muck about, but a lot of fun. A lot of people are using watercolour as an underpainting for colour pencils. I'm sure they are, but I've not looked at too much. I follow one or two artists on YouTube that are using coloured pencil, and to great effect. And I admire their skill, and they're very good at it. But that's all they do, and they've done it a long time. So it's all credit. They do a very, very good job. Anyway, I'm going to get back to this, or you're not going to get an early night either. Now I'm going to put a little bit of that blue in, and a little bit of this blue in. So that's cobalt and phthalo. I'm going to tap in a little bit of orange, not much, to my blue. Now that orange is going to corrupt the blue, as you can well see, and that I hope will come through our boat areas here and our water. Now then, I want to put that in. I want it dark enough. I'm going to leave a very faint line, very little line towards the headland as best I can. I'm going to take it through that boat. I'm going to leave my white sail under here. Try cut round that if I can, and leave little bits, cut round the boat, working as fast as I can to leave my nice sail. And if I don't do it well, I can always come back in with some opaque colour, some body colour, but hopefully we will get away with it. I'm going to take it all the way down through here, come around that shape, leave a little bit of white paper, and if you want a little bit of glint on the water, then come through like this, nice dry brush. Take that through there, nice, leaving little odd bits through here. A bit more water because it gets quite light up through here. Going to take some through there and there, like so, and a little bit of glint. Drawing some of that up there. I want it quite dark through there, so when I lift that mask in, it will show those white boats off to their best advantage. Okay, take that through there, bit through here. Take that into there, and just down through there. Hopefully that should be enough to do for the water. Now there's a little bit of mark through here which I'm trying to cover up, so I'm going to come a bit more blues, a bit more orange, not too much. Can easily overdo it, and that almost is. Just come back out of there a little bit. I want to lift some of this back out the other way like that. I'm going to tap it. Lift some of this pigment back out like that, and then run back in with the lighter value, trying to pick up some of that where it got a little bit dry too quickly on me. I'm not going to get rid of it all, but hopefully you might get away with enough of it. So that gives us a nice, where the sun is somewhere here, I think we're getting a little bit more light on the water at this side, and hopefully that will work. But as I say, this area here create a little bit of a line. I don't know if you can see it in the painting. You may not be able to. Right, a little bit of a glug is needed. Okay, have I missed anything? No, I don't think so. If you've got a question, and I do this actually, I follow a lot of train because I like model railways too, and I follow some of the chats and some of the streams on railway channels. Now sometimes there's so many people asking questions, and if I really want to get an answer to something and I need to answer a question, often it gets overlooked because there's so many people. They're just, and so sometimes I'll repeat the question and hope that someone will see it. And if you've asked me something and I haven't seen it, then just tap in another one and I will hopefully see it the second time. So not to worry about that. Not the best video, yes, but we're watching next. I've got self-over. Oh, good, Glennis. I'm sure you're going to do some great work with those too. Okay, let us let that dry before we touch anything else. So now I am going to come in with too much of that blue. I'm going to come out of that. I don't want that blue. Leave that there. Let's come back in with some ultramarine blue this time. For the first time, a much cooler blue. And I'm going to come in with a little bit of that lovely green colour, that turquoise green. And I'm going to use some Indian red, a favourite little dirty red. And I'm coming in with that dirty green colour. And that is going to, I hope, put me some little bushes in the far distance here, that lovely darker green value. It's not quite green, but hopefully I'll put a little bit of that into it, make it even greener. Just run that through, and I want to touch the brush. I want a smaller brush, so I'm going to come down a peg to a synthetic, slightly smaller, and that will give me a little bit of control. Run out of paint though. I'm going to come in with some, no, some ultramarine blue. Let's go back in there. And let's put some of that red in, and let's come with that green and some of that raw sienna. I've got that dirty green again, and let's just come back in and reinforce some of these trees and stuff in the distance. Don't forget they're dark here, but they will dry lighter, so don't worry too much. But we're just making little taps along the shoreline that when you see them, they will appear to be bushes and trees in the far distance. So all you're doing is tapping, but you need to, if you get the value right, if you get the colors right, the value of that color or tone of that color is about right in the distance and the aerial perspective is working, then the brain of the viewer will make all the dots join up and it will be just how you want it to be. But I'm not painting trees. And just putting lines in and little taps, but because my colour is about right, it is convincing enough to appear to be a tree line or shrubs or whatever it is. I'm going to break that there. I'm going to put another lot there, coming down through the field, maybe one or two more spaces, and that starts looking quite convincing over that side. There is a lot more tree and shrub going on here, so let's just bring that in, certainly more dense, being careful not to go through my sails, like so, and let's bring that all the way through here, careful not to come into my water like I nearly did then. Just take that up the other way, got a little bit sloppy with that. Try and preserve some of that light running through there as well if you can. And just one or two taps to create the sense of land the other way, all the way over there. There you go. I'm not too convinced about that part. Let's change that a little bit. Put something on top. Let's create that a little higher. And this sort of goes along the top of this hill now. The land is getting taller, higher, like so. But I want it quite dark there because you've got this dark cloud here, and it's sort of making all this dark over here. It's sort of over that area, if you get the idea. So this is all shady under this, but we're in sunlight here. We're getting a nice little glisten off the water. We've got the top of this cloud, and we've got still sunshine. That's the idea. That's what I'm hoping to achieve. Just put in a little bit more through here, and maybe a secondary line of stuff where it's a bit closer through there. Try, if you want to, add a little bit more raw sienna to the overall mix here, and make those appear a little closer, a little greener, a little fresher than the ones behind them. But don't get rid of all the other colour either. You want to be able to go back in and finish that off up here, like so. And one or two bits and pieces down through here. And out onto that bit of land there. And again, where that's coming down to join it, I think, something like that. Grasses, and these are now sort of grasses and bushes and shrubs in the foreground. And again, I'm going to work into some of the negative space there, just to suggest that there are long grasses and bits and pieces going up there, like so. Did anything else? No. We've lost a few people. People come and go. Is that? I guess that must be sort of the internet's dropping more than people getting fed up. I just hope people are not getting fed up with watching. But I'm sure people have little jobs to do in between instead of just sitting totally watching me for a couple of hours or an hour or whatever it is. But yeah, I don't know. Fascinated how this internet really works, but I don't think anybody fully understands how it actually does. Alright, pretty much done on this sort of land. There you go. Bit of darks, 1 or 2 taps of dark through here. Just mix up some of these colours, a little bit dark in here and light. Just mix it up a little bit. Can't quite see. I'm going to put a little bit more raw sienna into some of this as it's coming this way, like so. And you can mix it up with some of that blue. The indigo and the raw sienna work a great green together when you get them right. You can yin-yang them. You can pull one to the other and sort of swap them around a little bit. I'm just going to come in with a strong dark through here and up into some bushes through here, like so. I'm not trying to put detail on, just using the brush and make the brush marks very, very suggestive if I can. A bit more of the yellowy green in there as well, just to come in there and just tap some longer stuff on the edge of this water. Just tap some in there. I don't want them so thick, so I want them clumpy and dark. That's fine as it is, no problem with any of that. And okay, so that I'll let dry up, and I will come in with some other colour to beef up this grass in the foreground. Meantime, is this dry enough? I think I might get away with it if I'm careful. Never quite sure if something's too dry, not dry enough. It can tear the paper if there's dampness, so be really aware of that. Really, really careful. I say cooking it with a hairdryer is not the best plan. Okay, I'm going to tap this off, come back on it. There we go. So these are little taps of colour here, and they're very, very suggestive of boats way down into wherever they are, going away from us. And to that end, I'm not going to do, or don't plan on doing too much. I might just put in maybe a suggestive little dark piece on that one there. And you're not getting anything in the form of reflections, anything else. It's just little shapes. Where should we could actually put in a, see, I went over that blue, didn't I? In fact, I think that should be white. I remember I used the brush just to spread that around. Yes, good. I thought I'd made a huge mistake there with something. So now I'm going to use and find my rigger. Where are you? There's a small brush, not the one I was looking for. Bear with me, see it somewhere. There we are. Okay. So I'm going to put those other brushes down for a moment, and I'm going to mix up. It doesn't matter too much about what this colour is. A darkish colour, but not absolutely black colours. Okay, so I'm just going to suggest little marks coming down here. Just little simple marks like that, which will give an add to the picture. I'm going to take this up a nice straight line down through there, another one through here, like so. Gives it a lovely little sense of purpose. The boat's going up the water, and a little bit of more blue, a little bit of ultramarine into that darker colour. And let's just put in maybe a little dark section under this boat, like so. Don't want them all the same. We could actually, interestingly, put a little bit of a red line, dirty red line. Doesn't want to be a bright red line. We could actually put in, maybe on this one, we can put in a nice red side to that boat. We can take that across the stern, like so, and I nearly did it on the back of the blue one. And a little bit across the stern on there. And we can play around with our sails. We can actually leave them as white, or we can put in a little bit of ultramarine violet into that. Let's come and let's clear that out. Come in with a clean piece of colour. I think this got a little bit contaminated now, we're good. So what I want to do is try and create a little bit of bellow. So I'm going to come in here and just put in that on that sharp line, and then phase it off into there. And maybe a little on there too. And maybe on this one. What I want to do is I'm going to come in, I think I'm definitely going to come in with some body colour. I've made that decision as I've gone on. Soften that into there. So I won't put the body colour on until we are at the point of this is all dry. Like so. Nothing going on up in there, nothing at all. It doesn't need it. Michigan. Thank you, Jeanette. We have several people from America, and thank you for joining us. Love to have you on board. That's fantastic. Thank you. We've also got Sibylla. I'm not sure, Sibylla, where you're from. I know we got Ben from Iceland. So we are getting truly international. It's really, really nice. Thank you very much for taking the trouble to join in. Okay, I am going to come back to one of these other brushes, slightly bigger brush, and I'm going to come in with a greenier mix. There's a lot of corruption in that brush. Let's get rid of some of that. Okay, let me come in with some lemon yellow. Aureolin, sorry, I keep saying lemon yellow because as an oil painter I use a lot of lemon cadmium yellow, so I naturally see it and think of it as lemon, but it's actually aureolin, and my other yellow is not a cadmium yellow, as I may express sometimes. It is actually a Indian yellow. Both of them are transparent by nature, and both work very, very well as a watercolour yellow. One is much cooler, of course, than the other one. Now I'm going to add in some lovely green, turquoise green, which is cobalt turquoise. That gives me a lovely colour green there. And now I'm going to corrupt it. I'm going to put a little bit of orange to that. A bit more of the green. Makes me a dirty, grungy version of that one. Okay, now I want to put in a little, no, I keep going into the red. And once again, I keep saying my red. My red is not a cadmium red. There is cadmium red, but I actually have, this is vermilion. Can I come in with some of this translucent orange? Beautiful colour. And I'm going to wash some of that into some of these greens at the same time. Okay, so let's come on with a lighter one. Let's just push it into place very, very quickly, like so. And take it all the way through there. Tapping a little bit of orange as it gets very close to the edge. Maybe it's a little warm, a little dead at the top there, but I think that works. And the orange works nicely with the blue. That's partly why I did it too. You get that nice sense of blue. I'll get there in a minute. Blue and orange complementary is working, which is fantastic. Okay, I'm just going to come down there, put that in there for a minute, take that to there, one or two little bits through there. Doesn't need much. It really doesn't need much. I'm going to come now with one or two darker taps in here to suggest that there is some shadow, and a little bit in there down this bit of road. A bit of orange into there too. That's disappearing. It's a bit of a strong statement, so I'm going to take some of that out for a moment. And I want to come back in and mix the two. So I'm going to come in with some orange in there, tap some into there, a little bit of indigo. That's way too much. I'm going to use that as a very dark, dirty colour. Bit of the green back into it. That green is quite opaque, and you see how it cools the whole thing down. So if you want to warm it up again, come back in with a bit of red. That's way too much, but you get the idea. You can play around with these colours, and you're going to end up with a big old dirty grey. Okay, now you can swing that anywhere you want from there. You can actually come in with some blues and pump up that coolness, and come in with some of the Indian yellow and turn it back to a green. And the more you do this and play around, you are just exciting those colours warmer, greener, lighter, etc. So I'm just going to, most of this is pretty much done. I just want to tap in one or two little bits and pieces that are suggestive of little shadows of grass in here. Just mixing it up as it comes down to the foreground here, like so. Giving that a sense of something going on here, like that. Little leading lines. Those little lines, these little fissures of dark coming down here. They're not ploughed field or plough lines. They're merely indications that, you know, that take your eye up through here. And that's the whole idea of that. And I'm going to do some of that right now on the edge of this road. Very simply, just to put them in. And we've got a bit of a track going on, like so. Alright, so we are pretty much sorted out. And as I said earlier, it will not be a 2-hour one tonight, but I am looking for my body colour, and I want to clean off some of this palette. I'm going to come up here, take this orange out of it for the moment, and I'm going to use my rigger for this. And you could use a smaller brush, but I like my rigger, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to take some of this out like so. If you can see that, okay. Put some of that in the palette, and to that I'm going to add in some Indian yellow. Once I get a clean bit, take the paper out of it, put that in there. Take and get some of that Indian yellow out. Mix the two together and you get a very, very opaque white. just a real brilliant white. Now hopefully I'm going to create a little bit more white. Now a stronger opaque colour, if you wanted to, would be to use an acrylic white. You can do that too. That's more solid and will not disperse so much as this colour. I'm going to use this light to come down in here, like so. Lose a bit of the sail. Lose a bit of the mask as that comes down and creates that nice mask look with the sail. I think I know what I said then, I'm not too sure. There we go. Just clean that one up just a little smidge. And if you want to, while you've got this, you can put a little line or two in here, suggestive of masks way over. Like so, you get little marina outlets, and there are just tons of little masks all the way along the shoreline. I mean, if you get to Pinmill, they're just everywhere. So you can do that, and you can really give that very much a beautiful sense of what's going on with the boats. Tons of yachts all moored up. Some out in the water, and some to the edge or even on the mud. Okay. Now, do I need to do anything else? I think I am pretty much done. I'm doing these boats out of my head, so there is not too much to worry about, I hope. Just down to some there. What we could do is just be a little bit savvy, put a little bit more red on the front of this one, and then just put a little red pennant on the top, like so. Maybe a little blue one on there. You can't see it too much when you see it blue, but just enough, like so. There we are. One little painting of Shotley. I'm just going to put a signature. Where I'm going to put it. Now I'm going to put it over here. Make my mind up. Just a quick signature. There, done, sorted. It didn't take a lot of painting, but then again, I knew it wasn't going to. I just really wanted to show you all this lovely cloud. I hope I've done it justice. I really hope I do. I'm going to take the covering off now. This should be dry enough to do it. I'll leave this till last. This piece up here is obviously certainly very dry. We did that at the beginning. I'm going to take that off as we come down very carefully, like so. I love this big reveal. I love this part of doing any painting, is that end bit, just letting that white paper show up again. Nice clean white edges, look at that. Hopefully this is dry enough to do this. Sometimes if it's not, you'll tear into your paper. I always pull it gently and away. So I'm doing that and I'm pulling it down. And 9 out of 10 times, even if it's damp, you'll get away with it. Like that. A bit of something good on there. Oh, that is on it on the white. There you go. All right, everybody. There we are. One watercolor of the River Orwell, Shotley Point, and I've added some yachts in going home for the evening, just to give it a little bit of interest down in this side. Got a nice little balance of interest here, and we've got a little mid area of boats and stuff that are going on. A lot of activity over there. Just with a few taps, we've got a whole raft of excuse the pun with the raft, but we've got a whole load of stuff going on with boats, tons of boats over there, tons of yachts, and then these three going up the river to join them for the evening and berthing. So there we are. Sean, thank you very much. Hope to see you all again soon. I've enjoyed this. It's been a lot of fun. and I think I conveyed what I wanted to. I've got the cloud that I wanted. It is not exactly the same as the photograph. I'm not worried about that. I still have the essence of the picture, and I'm very happy with the result of that. Nice variations in the greens. There is no grass there. I'm not painted grass. I've given you a few plops of colour, as it were, to signify the green, the bank, the land, the form, the different values in some of these trees here and bushes, but they're just taps of colour, as I explained to you. So yeah, we've even got a trackway. It's all there. So that's it for tonight. Bit of a short one. We're about 40 minutes short of normal, maybe as an average, but there you go. Ben, good evening to you, and yeah, take care. Edward Seago does it for me every time, Teresa. It's fantastic. And I know I went up to the last show in London with Wendy a few months ago before lockdown, and we had a tremendous day out there seeing the Portland Gallery's latest exhibition. They have one every 2 years, and it was awesome. And I think even though Wendy put on a smile, I think it was a bit hard to drag me away. It's so good. Okay, everybody, don't forget, please don't forget, there is before you all disappear, before you all go, I wanted to air something with you guys, because I've been doing 2 streams a week, and I had to cut out the stream for my patrons, because it just became a lot of work, and I have to look to my patrons who really are funding a lot of what I'm doing as well. So what I want, or what I'm thinking, and this is not concrete, this is just in my head as of the last couple of days, that there is a small possibility that I may do a single stream each week on a Monday for YouTube and for you guys to enjoy, and I will then put the other one to my patrons and let them have their stream back, but that will be on a Thursday or a Friday, having talking to them all. Now that I'm not 100% sure of yet. I am in discussion with a fairly new friend who's got a lot more ideas on this sort of thing than I have, and she will sort of give me some insight whether it's a good or a bad plan. So if I do go down to one, please don't be upset with me too much, because you are getting, of course, on here the live stream, and you are getting the Friday video, and those will continue. I am not walking away from YouTube. I definitely not. I put my heart and soul into YouTube for the last 14-15 months, and it's the last thing I will do. But I'm trying to weigh up all the time that I'm doing with the editing, filmmaking, painting, and I've got to look at the sources of Patreon that help fund that. So I've got to look to giving those guys so much more if I can. When I've got a massive big channel, and one day it will be, then these things become quite academic and everybody gets to see and enjoy and all the rest of it. But I'm trying to make my time divide up between everything, and I hope you sort of fully understand that. But as I say, if I can make my timetable work and I can try and give those patrons an extra stream, then I will keep the 2 streams on here. But as clever as I am, there is only so many hours in a day, and I do need to work and earn from what I do. And apart from AdSense, of course, with YouTube, there's not a huge amount of income from it. I just love it. I love spreading the word. I love teaching people. I love encouraging people. I love reaching out to people, and to me that's extremely important. I mean, if I didn't need to earn money to live, I would just do it for the love of it, because I just love sharing my knowledge and my skills with other people. And I just need to make sure that those who pay to see my content get their relevant fair share. And Ben, thank you very much for that support. I appreciate it. So yeah, I'm only thinking about things, but I have a long way to go before I put anything into working practice. But hopefully if I do just cut this down to one stream a week for you guys, that you'll understand that, and you'll understand that if you want to see two, you're going to have to become a patron. And you can do that for as little as £5 a month if you would like to, and gain access to all of that lovely stuff that I put over to those guys. So there you go. Plugged. If you want a bit more than just this from me, and you want interaction with me, and also my private Facebook Patreon channel where all my patrons can air their work, we can discuss it and all these things, then nip on over to Paul Apps Artist on patreon.com. Have a look at it. If you like one of the tiers, subscribe. You can jump in, you can jump out. You don't have to stay in it forever. It's nice if you do, but but you know, you have all those freedoms. You're not signing away your life, but it is a great way to have so much more information from me and interaction with me moving forward. And you also know that you'll help supporting my efforts as an artist, a creator, to create videos for here and for Patreon moving forward. I'm going to get off my soapbox. I've had enough of that now. You know this tale. You know the story. If you want to get more from me, join Patreon as well. So anyway, thank you guys. I've had fun. I'm going to go and have a drink. I haven't heard the doorbell, so my pencils have not arrived. So it's a little bit of that tonight. I'm not going to be able to unwrap these pencils and have a bit of fun, but there you go. It's the way of life, isn't it? So it's all the more to look forward to tomorrow. So with that all said, people, thank you so much for the support of the channel. Those of you who are my subscribers, thank you very much for subscribing. Those of you who are not subscribers and are watching this right now, if you've enjoyed it, shame on you. Subscribe to the channel, like the channel, give it the thumbs up. Also add comments underneath this video and any other video that you watch of mine. Give a comment. It'd be fantastic. And above all, subscribe to it, because it costs you nothing to do that at all. But you know by doing it, you're helping me grow my channel, sharing it with many more people. The more people that come on board, subscribing and commenting, the more the algorithms within YouTube push it out to more and more people, so more people get to enjoy what I'm doing. Rant over. Sean, goodbye from Cornwall, mate. I'm very jealous of where you live, gotta say. Paul, thank you very much. I appreciate that very much, mate. I've enjoyed it. It's been nice and fresh and easy to do. A lot of fun. So I'm going to leave this open for a little longer, and then we will wrap it up and I'll turn it off. And yeah, have a good weekend, everybody. Lots of fun. Stay safe. And if you're out partying, really stay safe. But have a lot of fun doing it. Take care. I'm going to have a glug, and I will talk to you all very soon. Don't forget, Monday, an oil live stream. We've got to do the second part of the Cornwall picture from Sen & Co. So I expect to see you back, Sean, for that. Derek, see you Monday, mate. Oh, I needed that. I did need that. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate the support. All the best to you all. Ben, goodbye, mate. Jim, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm going to go and get some rest. Definitely. I'm glad it was a fast one tonight, because I was a little bit jaded, I have to say. So I won't do burning the midnight oil like that again. That was a one-off, but I really wanted that video today to sing my praises and do the right thing for me. And if something's not quite right, those of you who know me well will know that I will rip it up, tear it up, start again to make it right. And I will do everything within my power. And that meant staying up till 1 o'clock last night to get it right. So, hey ho, lessons learned. I won't hopefully make the same mistakes on it next time. And we will come out and I can get a better reasonable hour. Yeah, I will get some. Definitely, I'm going to be in bed late tonight. I'll see you tomorrow, Wendy. Anytime you like, hun. It doesn't matter. I'm just there all day. Yeah, Paul, catch you on Monday, mate. Thank you very much. Righto. I say good night to everybody, and I'm now going to turn off the chat. So if you've got to say goodbyes, get them done now. Judy, I don't think I said hello to you, and I know you're there, or did I say hello earlier? Judy, forgive me if I didn't. I'm sorry. Judy, thank you very much. That's a really sweet comment. I just seen it. Thank you so much for that. And I think would the Patreon streams be any particular colour level? No, I'm going to make those streams open to everybody, Teresa. I think because it may be that later on it gets bumped, but I think certainly we are still building the patrons, and I think that I would rather have everybody able to see them and watch them than having it just down to 1 or 2 on a higher level that I only get 1 or 2 watching it, which is really what was happening before. So I think that now we've got we're growing in numbers on the patrons, which is fantastic. I just feel that it would be good to open it up, and it won't be the $1. The $1 patrons won't be able to watch it, but everybody who is a $5 and above will get to watch it. I keep saying $5. I've changed it to pounds, so everybody is on a. They've just brought in 1 or 2 things to change the money and everything else, so that's all good. Cheers, Paul. That's very kind of you, mate. But yeah, so we'll see. Really, it will be $5 and above. And if it gets the support, then we'll carry on. If it really doesn't get the support, I'll bump it back out again and put it back onto YouTube. It just needs to have the support. Otherwise, there's, for 1 or 2 people, it's just really not worth me putting all that time and energy into it. So that's really where I'm coming from. I just like to do these things, but I like to know that people are there watching it and enjoying it, and what have you. So, but it may be that I can sort of go back to doing 3 again and still keep the 2 on YouTube and do 1 on for my patrons. But we just got to see. I'm having a chat with somebody, as I say, on Monday, and we will discuss many points of the whole system that I'm doing and what they do, and see what we can glean to make everything I do just a little bit better. All right, peeps. Good night to you all. Before it does become 2 hours. Take care. Catch you all Monday night. And for those of you who I will see sooner, I'll see you all sooner. Take care. And have a look at the video too. Bye-bye.